Chapter 8 Mule Hunting Expedition from Vancouver Island to San Francisco, the All-Maiden, Quicksilver Mines, Poison Oak, and its antidote. The Commission, in 1860, were to commence the work of marking the boundary line on the eastern side of the Cascades, a large addition to our staff of pack mules being indispensable. I was dispatched to San Francisco to purchase them, and instructed to rejoin the Commission as soon as practicable, at the Dalles, already mentioned as a small town on the upper part of the Columbia River. I introduced the journal of my mule hunting adventures at this part of the volume, as it enables me to explain the systems of transport and traveling resorted to in wild countries. Where roads and railways are known, I transcribe my journal, the events of each day as hastily recorded. February 29th, 1860. Left Esquimalt Harbor in the steamer Panama. My destination San Francisco. My mission to purchase mules. The island is still in its winter garb. Not a bud has burst into leaf, and a very few migratory birds have made their appearance. At 10:30 a.m. we are steaming out of the harbor. No wind, water fresh as the lake, run pleasantly down the straits of Juan de Fuca and past Cape de Flattery. About 4 p.m. winds blowing unpleasantly fresh, and a heavy tumbling swell made the Panama disagreeably lively. Passengers rapidly disappear. Various gulping sounds, heavy sighs, and impatient calls for the steward tell clearly enough that the most terrible lavalier next to death, seasickness, has begun its work below. March 1st. A bleak, misty morning, a heavy sea, wind dead ahead, and cold driving hail showers. The ship, rolling from side to side, renders it difficult for even practiced hands to guide anything spillable to the mouth, and walking, save to a sailor or a housefly, is an impossible performance. March 2nd, managed to scramble on deck about 7 a.m. by going through a series of acrobatic performances that came near to dislocating all my joints. Wind moderated, but a heavy sea still rocked us very rudely. We are close inshore, passing Cape Blanco, 350 miles below Cape Flattery, Port Orford. A place celebrated for its cedar is just visible through the haze. The rounded hills behind it are quite white with snow, kept close inshore all day. But the weather is too cold, and the sea too rough for one to enjoy the scenery. March 3rd, scrambled on deck again about 7 a.m. Wind still ahead, but altogether a better morning than yesterday. Had a good look at Cape Mendoza, a bold rocky headland to the south of which is Mendoza City, consisting of a few houses and a grocery. The coastline is exceedingly picturesque and pretty. Between the headland and Point Arena, a series of undulating hills caped with massive pine trees, their sides and grassy slopes reaching down to the sea line. Reminds me of English hayfields. It seems like the enchantment, the change in the vegetation 3 days only from Vancouver Island. March 4th. At sunrise, I am on deck, called by the captain to get a peep at the Golden Gate. There is just enough light to reveal a stupendous mass of bold mountain scenery, rising apparently from the sea and towering up 3,000 feet and over until lost in the haze of morning. Under the shadow of these hills we are puffing towards an opening, as if cut purposely through a solid wall of rock. On the right stands an immense fortress, built of red brick. Alcatraz Island, right ahead, is dimly visible, like a gray spot in this line of water. The ripple, touched by the sunbeams that are slanting into the bay, seems converted into revolving cylinders of brilliance. As we steam through this magnificent portal, the finest harbor in the world opens out southward and westward. On the curving shore of the bay, I can see the city of San Francisco, built on the slopes of 3 hills to the left of the island of Yerba Buena. Further to the right, a forest of masts from which flags representing every nation flutter in the breeze. Ahead, a long stretch of water. As far as the eye can follow it, the continuation of the harbor. We ran alongside an immense pier at 6 a.m. I am mobbed by toters from every hotel in San Francisco, and have hard work to keep my luggage from being equally divided amongst them. Passengers appear for the first time since leaving Vancouver Island, blanched like celery or sea kale. By dint of strong arms and stronger language, I get my luggage fastened to a grating that lets down by machinery at the end of an omnibus marked Oriental Hotel. I am hustled into the bus with 3 pale passengers, and we are rapidly whirled off to the Oriental. The mail packet from Panama has also just arrived. All the beds are taken at the hotel, so I bid my chance of someone leaving before night. Called on the consul, and through his kindness am located in the Union Club House. A grand improvement on the Oriental. March 5th, occupied in giving my letters of introduction and arranging money matters. The clubhouse in which I am staying is a massive granite building. The granite, beautifully faced and fitted, was all hewn in China. The house was put together there to see everything was properly finished, then taken to pieces, packed and shipped to San Francisco. Chinese builders came with it, brought their own scaffolding, made entirely from bamboo, put it together, built up the granite edifice in which I transcribe this, as handsome as a structure as any San Francisco can boast of. March 6th, having nothing particular to do, determined to visit the new Almad and Quicksilver mines. There are 2 routes to these mines, one per stage the whole distance, 56 miles, the other per steamer to the head of the Bay of San Francisco, and thence by stage to San Jose. Past experience has taught me whenever possible scrupulously to avoid stage traveling. Being tossed in a blanket or rolled down a steep hill in a cask produce much the same bruised and general state of sprain and dislocation as a day's ride in a stage. Choosing the steamer lessened the chance of jolting by quite 1/2, at the same time affording a good opportunity of seeing the famed Bay of San Francisco. I embark at 7 from a wooden pier, early as it is, alive with the hum, buzz, and bustle of the awakening city, and steam away from the unrippled waters of the bay. The temperature is delicious. A few fleecy clouds are swept rapidly over the clear blue sky by a light breeze blowing softly from the land, laden with the perfume of wildflowers and forest trees. A run of a few hours brought us to the Embarcadero, or landing, at the head of the bay, from whence a stage bumped over the road about 4 miles to the old town of San Jose. Pueblo San Jose stands at the entrance of a lovely valley. The town consists of a collection of adobe houses. The few in the main streets are built of wood, painted white with brilliant green jalousies outside the windows. The older houses are scattered round an open space. The plaza, trees of greenest foliage in double rows, shade one from burning sun, and everywhere spacious orchards and flower gardens testify to the fertility of the soil. Having a note from a friend in San Francisco to the host of house, more than ordinary civility has accorded me, and by some superhuman means a buggy would be ready in about 2 hours to take me to the mines. Crossing the Alameda, a grove of willows and oaks planted by padres leads to the old crumbling walls of what was once a very spacious mission, now rapidly falling to decay. The interior of the old church is decorated with rude carvings, paintings of the crucifixion, and frescoed figures of saints and martyrs, clad in garments of dazzling colors. Old shaven priest, with a particularly dirty cassock, and a face so begrimed with layers of filth as to be mosquito-proof, was the only ecclesiastic visible. Thousands of cliff swallows were busy building their bottle-shaped mud nests under the dilapidated roofs.